Hello everyone, I'm Laurel and welcome to my channel. Today I thought I'd make a sun catcher for the window, and the supplies you're going to need are UV resin, a couple different colors. It's like a dark blue and a light blue, even though it looks like it's purple on here, it's a dark blue. And I have a mold with like an ocean scene on it. I have other ones too, but I thought I'd do this one today. It's a turtle. Mixing bowls, mixing utensil. I have some really pretty chain that I'm going to hang it up with. I'm going to use this for attaching it or hanging it. You could also use just a jump ring, or you can use one of these swivel clasps. That would work good too, but I just thought this would be just fine, this kind of clasp. I have some 10mm jump rings because this is rather a thicker mold. Okay, and your UV resin, of course. Acrylic markers. I'm just going to use the new ones I purchased, the Artistro. I really like them. Still have not gotten them to work with coloring into the mold. It does color the mold beautifully, but once you pour the resin in and try curing it, it doesn't cure. So I really don't know why, but I'm just going to keep working at it and I'll figure it out for you so I can show you how to do that process if that might be easier for you. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the two different blue colorants in here, and then I'm just going to color on top with the acrylic markers, and then I'm going to use a thin layer of UV resin on top of that. Okay, so I moved everything away that I'm not going to use, and I need to clean up the mold. There's little pieces of something in there. I think it's just dust, but I want to make sure I get it all out. And I'm just using a piece of tape to do that. It's just masking tape. And then we just have to fill these up. I kind of want two different colors swirling in, so it looks kind of oceany. A couple different blues. Now I think this is going to take up a little bit more resin than usual because it's, it's fairly large. It's almost like the size of a coaster, so I'm just going to use a little bit more UV resin than usual. Whoop! Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. Shot out over there. I think I'm running out of this bottle already. Gonna have to open up a new one pretty soon. I think that's pretty much it. And then I'm just going to put 2 drops in there. I want it rather see-through because it's going to, you can see the sun through it. And plus with the markers, this will be obviously darker, but around the area will be, the lighter see-through color. Because where you put the markers, obviously it's going to be opaque. Okay, so I'm going to use my hot air gun for just a second, so excuse the noise. Okay, and then we can start pouring, and I just kind of want them to still see some debris in here. Don't know what that is. All right, so I just want them kind of to blend into each other. I'm definitely going to have to mix up more, obviously. Okay. So I'm going to have to open up another bottle. Now these are just the smaller bottles. They're just 100 grams. I usually get the larger bottle, the 300 grams, but they had a sale, so I bought these. And they were selling them as 300 grams, but just the smaller bottles. And the price was rather cheap, so I couldn't pass it up. It was, you know, during Black Friday. Just have to clean off my scissors. Take this off. Put the top on. Okay, I'm just going to mix up a little bit more of the lighter color. I think that should be enough. And I'm only going to put one drop in because I'm not really filling it up like I did the last time. Still have to clean that up, I see. I'm just kind of swirling the colors around a little bit. I still might need a little more. I'm like looking at it and I really can't tell because I have it on a leveling table, and to me, I don't know, I still see it as being not level, so I I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that. And if I try to level it anymore, basically the legs are just going to fall out. Okay, I think that's it. All right, well, we used up every little bit of the resin, so that is good. And I don't have to mix anymore. I just got to clean this up before I forget. All right, so now I'm going to cure this for 180 seconds and then turn it over and then cure it again for another 180 seconds. But you know what? Before I do that, I thought I saw some bubbles. So I'm going to see if I can get those out. Okay. And I'll be right back after I cure. All right, now that it's cured, we can remove it from the mold. Still very warm. Should let it cool a little bit, I think, because I don't want it to bend. Ow, it's hot. That was only 180 seconds, come on. All right. Ooh, that turned out very nice. Can you see? Now, if you want, it's still very bendable because it's still warm. I'm gonna not touch it right now. But you can see all the little elements of it. I had to close my window, my drapes, because the sun was coming in through the blinds and I was worried that you couldn't see everything on here. So you could leave it like that if that's what you want. Now, like I said, I wanted to color it in. So I'm looking at it. They got bubbles. So I'm not sure. I'd probably go a darker blue just so that they show. I have two different greens. And that would be for, I'm thinking the darker green for the turtle, or you could do, oh, here's a really nice one. It's a very earthy color. That would look nice on the turtle. And then these could be the leaves, these two. I also have another one. Here's another one. Let's see what we're gonna do. All right, so I think to begin, I gotta make sure I get the right side to open up. All right, I'm going to color in the turtle first. I think I'm going to do inside the shell too. This is like a very earthy tone too, so I think I'll use that. And then just color those in. You might have to do 2 layers of marker in these. But actually it looks like it's filling it in pretty good. You could also do, this is an idea of doing multicolors. That would be pretty on the shell. Now, I don't know how I'm going to get it into these. It's like a little, very thin line. Might have to switch over to my Artex acrylic paints, because I think that the brush in that would fit in there really nicely. That's pretty so far. Well, let's see what we got in the Artex. Let me find the green. Okay, I found one that's very similar. I'm not sure if the color is exactly the same, but it's similar. Oops, my markers fell over. And this has a brush tip. So it's very pointy and it gets into those areas where you need it to. Now this obviously is a slightly darker than what we used in here, but those thin lines, it does get into there. So if you're trying to decide on what markers to purchase, it's all up to you. I like both. I think that the Artistro has a good coverage, but so does the Artex. And I mean, it just seems like the colors on the acrylic are just a slight bit lighter. Seems like these are more bold, which I like. Okay. Let's see, I got all the parts, I think. All right, so then all I have to do now is just color him in. I hope you can see that. Now, because there is little parts of this that were indented, they did, unfortunately, create some little teeny bubbles here and there, but you know, that's all right because we're going to cover that up with a thin layer of resin when we're done doing this. And you just take your time and try not to miss any spots. And if it starts streaking, you can go over it again. Just try not to just keep going and, you know, back and forth in the same area, because then it'll start streaking. I'm basically coloring in one direction. I don't know if it looks like that, but that's what I'm doing. I'm just basically following the shapes and then just coloring in one direction. Now, if you accidentally get it on another spot where you don't want it, it will wipe off. Okay, so he is done. Turned out pretty nice. Okay, so those are the colors we used already. Now for the, oh, there is a little fishy in there too. We do have to do the little fishies. We can't forget those. Now I'm just using the dotting side of the marker for the bubbles. Just goes a lot quicker because they're little circles that are sticking up and they're easier to catch this way. And then remember to look over your work because you may miss something, either a bubble or something small. So just make sure you go over your work after. All right. Trying to see if anything else I've missed. Okay, and then the fish, we're gonna have to do a different color, but I'll do the greenery first. So this is like the seaweed. I actually opened the wrong end. That's all right. Still coloring it the same way. Okay. It goes pretty quick once you get started. And you can always plan out your colors ahead of time. I sort of did, but I didn't see the fish, so if something like that comes up, not so hard to fix unless you already put the top layer on. Once you put that top layer on, you can't go back and fix it. I mean, you could, and then just do another top layer over it, but then it would look kind of, you know, out of sorts and wouldn't look right. All right, so that is done. Now for the fish. Oh, I dumped all my markers. Let's see. Oh. Oops. All right, so I'm going to do a darker yellow. There's two fish. I'm going to do a darker one up here. Oops, I got a little over there I didn't want. And I want to do a lighter fish here. And I got another spot where I don't want it. All right, so just getting a baby wipe. All right, gotta be careful doing this. I'm just wrapping it around my mixing tool so it goes to a point so I can just get that little bit out of there. There. All right. I don't really think that by doing the two different colors the fish look any different, so they actually look the same. Probably because it's on a blue background. Ugh, I did it again. Wouldn't you know? Okay, so once you get that cleaned up, then we can start doing the top coat. So get all these out of the way. I'm just checking it over, make sure I didn't miss anything. And then Now I'm doing the top coat. You don't really have to do a top coat over the whole thing. You could do a turtle and then do, you know, just the little bits that you colored. You could do that. I'm doing the whole thing, just going over the whole thing. Make sure it's all covered and protected. And then I'm just going to take my mixing tool and then just go along the edges and make sure it goes up to the edges. Okay, some spots were not covered with it, so just going to have to add a little bit more. Okay, I see a bubble there, so I'm going to try filling it in just a little bit, just so it's not so noticeable. And if you see any of those, just do the same. Just fill them in just a little bit so they're not noticeable. And then once you get it all to the edges and everything seems to be covered, and you have all those little bubbles or whatever covered up too. Okay, there's one there, one there. All right, looks like I got everything. Making sure everything's covered. All right. And then just get your lighter. Let's just go over the whole thing. I'm gonna do a bigger flame. Okay, now that there's no bubbles that I can see, I'm going to cure this for 180 seconds. All right, now that it's done, we can start putting it together. And you're going to need a 10mm jump ring. I'm just going to use two. One for that and one for going around here. And then I'm just going to hang it from a chain. And I'll say about approximately 12 inches. And these are just wire cutters. And I'm just going to cut it right on the small loop. And then I'm just going to open this up, place it through, put this on. If you have thicker wire too, that would work. I do have one that's comparable to like for keychains, like this, but it was a shorter one and I needed a longer piece. So, so you can use something like this to hang it from. But it's just going in my window, so it's safe with the smaller chain. Just open this up, go through the loop there, the hole, get that on. And then close it up. And there you go. You got a really pretty sun catcher for your window. Now another option too is when you're doing the blue, you could put glitter in it. I think that would be really pretty too, because then it'll sparkle even more. If you liked my video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and press the bell for notifications of upcoming videos. In the description box below, you will find links to all the supplies I used today, and you'll find links to my jewelry, my artwork, and my photography. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye. So if you made it to the end of my video, you will see that I added this charm on, and it's actually a bracelet connector. So all I did was used some 6mm jump rings and connected it. I also did color it in with a little green resin. This is what they look like, and I thought it would make a cute little addition considering I am doing turtles.